Hey guys, Kevin here. Long time no video. For a while there, I was kind of taking a break from the YouTube stuff, and basically I just wanted to do a quickie handy video for all the people out there who still want to, who want to have that PC Windows 10 operating system running on their Mac and not have to switch out that EFI card or keep the EFI card in their machine. They can just go purely 980 or Vega, whatever they were looking at, or 10, whatever. For a while there, we actually had, during the Yosemite and below years, we had an application called Boot Champ, which was fantastic. It worked brilliantly, but due to a security update done by Apple, it's something to do with rootless, if I remember correctly, from El Capitan up, we have not been able to use Boot Champ. So Boot Champ, primarily is basically a workaround of using your PC graphics card and just being able to boot into your Windows OS without having to alt boot, or kind of you have to boot into the Mac OS to use it. But if you know what this video is about, you'll know what Boot Champ is used for. The developer stopped developing on the application because Apple have stopped supporting rootless, but this method still works, and it still allows you to boot yourself into Windows 10 and below on Mac OS High Sierra. Mojave has actually been released at this point. I have not installed Mojave yet because they have not released NVIDIA drivers at this point, so that's one thing to keep in mind. Right now, I've had to do a bit of rejigging. I've had to downgrade from my newer TV. I've gone back to my Samsung. My new 4K television shit itself, so I had to bring that back during the weekend. But that's nothing to do with this. So what we want is to be able to boot into Windows very easily with a PC graphics card, and not have to deal with alt booting, because you just can't do that when you're using your PC graphics card. Also, the reason why I wouldn't recommend putting a 120 GT into your machine at the same time while running Windows, is from experience. Basically, the 120 GT will default itself as your main graphics card and will delete your GTX 980 or GTX or whatever graphics. One thing I will say is it won't do it if you have ATI, so that's probably a promising option for you. But at the same time, you're going to be stuck using that display port on the back of it, or the VGA or DVI, port on the back. Not exactly, the greatest option in the world. Anyway, what I'm going to do is show you how, step by step, on how to set this up. I've already somewhat started, and basically show you what you have to do to. And if you ever do an SMC reset, you'll have to redo this again. Even if you do a PRAM reset, you'll have to do this again to allow Boot Camp to work, or Boot Champ, sorry, to work. So first off, let's just say you've done, you had to do a PRAM reset, your machine's up and running again, and all of a sudden you wanted to boot into Windows, but you had the grayed out boot or Windows option on Boot Champ, and when you select it, it comes up with an error saying some rootless issues and just a big long error. Very common for all the operating systems past Yosemite. So first step, turn off the machine completely, and as I always say, you should always keep your EFI card because it's your troubleshooting card. You don't have to use it all the time, you just need it for when you have a problem. And right here I use my GT120, and I have that plugged in at the same time as my NVIDIA GTX 980, and basically I just have the 120 actually hooked up to the television at the moment through a VGA to the DisplayPort. So One thing I would recommend you also have is a bootable Mac OS disk or your recovery drive. If you have your Mac OS recovery still working, that's perfect. It will also do the same thing. What you want access to is the terminal in your recovery. And basically I have to go through USB. It's a very simple process. You can use X disk, and there's another one called X install disk and stuff like that. So there's plenty out there that will create a Mac OS bootable USB for you. Once you do that, you boot into this. This is what you will be given. This is the exact thing. So what you want to do is go to Utilities, go to Terminal, and wait for Terminal to boot up. And basically you could be given your terminal right here. So we'll put this in the middle. Yeah, not exactly the quickest thing. So hopefully, yeah, there we go. So I copied and pasted this, but this here is what you want to type in: csrutil space disable disable, and basically what that will do is it will disable the rootless security that Apple have actually implemented in the operating system, and will allow you to use the your boot champ again. Now sometimes this can take a few restarts, so be very cautious when you're doing this as well. A quick reminder and disclaimer: you are turning off a security element of Mac OS. If this doesn't bother you, go ahead. It doesn't bother me because I've had this off since Yosemite, and I haven't come across any issues as of yet. There is no ruling out that there could be issues, but this will get Boot Champ working again on your machine. And once we are done there, we just press enter, and we should get successfully disabled system integrity protocol or protection. Jesus, can't read that. Please restart the machine for the changes to take effect. So that's it. That's pretty much how you get Boot Champ to work again on your machine. So we're just going to press the restart button, and basically I'm going to take apart that, take out my troubleshooting card. So right now we have actually gone through HDMI and we're actually running off just a single 980. Nothing new there. That's been a feature for a long time. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into my account and all this crap. So what we are looking for is Boot Champ right here. So again, the main reason why a lot of people want this application is because it's simple as: I don't have a Mac graphics card to alt boot anymore. How do I get into my Windows partition? Like, this is really the best way of doing it. It does boot directly into Mac, but if you have Mac OS like me on an SSD, that takes literally seconds to boot into Windows, or to boot into Mac OS. And all you have to do is just click on this, and now we're in Windows. Now we're going into Windows. See on the top right there. Now this should just restart straight in. I'm not going to pause on this because, just in case people think there's any tomfoolery here, on using Boot Champ on the latest Mac OS. Well, soon to not be the latest, but I'm sure this method should work with Mojave. I hope it does. I don't think Apple have any way of patching the root any further, as far as I'm aware. But at least that option of disabling that is still there. So that's the good news for all you guys out there who just want an easier life. And here we go. Boot straight into Windows. And Boot Champ doesn't care what Windows OS you're actually running. It'll just boot straight into any DOS OS or Microsoft based OS that you have actually installed on your machine. which is the main reason why it's so sad that the guy who was running this actually gave up on it so quickly. Me personally, I actually posted up this fix for a while back on his forum, and he called me out on it, so he did. So, saying that not to do it, and that this can cause issues with Apple. So, I was kind of like, yeah, but anyone who's going to use this type of software know that what they're going to be using it for, and yeah, it was kind of an odd one, but at least you can still use this software and it still works, and no tomfoolery with the alt boot, as you may see. So if you like this video, if you found it handy, if it's something that you kind of been trying to rack your head around for ages, you want to use your you want to boot into Mac like quicker than having to restart and press alt and all the rest, because this method still works with supported OSs. So this is not just for the PC graphics card crowd. This is for people who really need this option for quick access, really, and that's the main reason why I use it. Eventually I won't have to talk your ear off, and it'll, there we go, we're almost there. But yeah, Windows 10, it wasn't the blasé of the start button in the corner or anything like that, but this is the proof of concept that it boots directly into Windows, and once it's booted in there, I can pretty much restart and it'll go straight back into Mac. Simple as that. Okay, that took a little bit forever. Sorry about that. Hopefully the fast forward kind of got rid of any of the problems with that. So just log in. And now we're on Windows. And that was a non-stop video, so it was pretty much. Just to kind of prove that there was no tomfoolery or anything like that. That this is my main Windows OS. And then when I want to restart or shut down, it'll always boot back into Mac. And there we go, we're in Mac. So, if this interests you, please leave us a like. If it made you feel a little bit differently, there's the other button there for that. And please subscribe if you want to see more content. Thanks very much for watching, guys.